To that point, we've got some new numbers out of the state of Pennsylvania. A new Fox News poll released just yesterday shows Democrat John Fetterman leading Republican Mehmet Oz, Dr. Oz, by 11 points now, 47-36. In that state's governor's race, the same Fox News poll shows Pennsylvania Attorney General Josh Shapiro leading Republican State Senator Doug Mastriano by 10 points, 50-40. So Eugene Robinson, Mastriano, and Dr. Oz, both the Trump choices here. Dr. Oz has been underperforming, to say the least. He's been over in Europe for a while on vacation in the heat of the campaign. Questions about whether he even lives in Pennsylvania. He lived, of course, in New Jersey for a very long time. And John Fetterman has made a big point of reminding voters of that every single day. But this gets to the larger question that Peter was just talking about, which is candidate selection in the Republican Party. You could point to Herschel Walker in Georgia as well.
Exactly. The Republicans are trying very hard to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory in the Senate, and they're succeeding. I mean, with Dr. Oz, if you want to win a Senate seat in Pennsylvania, don't nominate a dual Turkish-American citizen who lives in New Jersey, because he's probably not going to win. If you want to win the governorship there, don't nominate a far-right Looney Tune. Georgia, Herschel Walker is a terrible candidate, and Reverend Warnock, Senator Warnock, is leading in that race in what is still a pretty red state. It's incredible the way. Well, first of all, the way Donald Trump has helped Democrats in all these races by supporting these far-out candidates. J.D. Vance in Ohio, which ought to be an easy slam dunk for a sensible Republican candidate, and J.D. Vance is locked in a very, very tight race against Tim Ryan, and is also a pretty bad candidate, and in my opinion, seems likely to blow that race as well. And so I think if the Democrats are feeling pretty good about their chances in the Senate right now, and candidate selection is really the biggest factor.
Caddy, Eugene uttered that tired political cliche that if you want to win a Senate seat in Pennsylvania, don't nominate a celebrity doctor who's got dual citizenship of Turkey and America and who lives in New Jersey. So how many times have you heard it? But setting aside the peculiarities of that particular Senate seat, there does seem to be some real momentum here for Democrats in the Senate and coming out of the White House right now. We know that the bill's not done yet. All eyes on Senator Sinema of Arizona. But there is a belief, White House aides I talked to last night, cautiously optimistic, feeling like not just could this give Democrats something to run on these midterms, helping their Senate candidates, but also reviving this presidency, which has obviously had a bit of a tough moment these last few months. It feels like Democrats have wins at their back. How do they take advantage?
Yeah. Fun fact, by the way, on Dr. Oz, I did once beat him on Celebrity Jeopardy. I don't know if that has anything to do with the Pennsylvania race, but we've got to find that clip somewhere.
Let's just talk about that for a minute. Give us some more details, please.
So I was running, I did Celebrity Jeopardy. It was Chris Wallace, me, and Dr. Oz. And Chris Wallace leaned over to me at the beginning and said, "No offense to you, Catty, but I'm not worried about you. I'm worried about Dr. Oz." And I beat him. Wow. There we go. Ouch. Oh, I don't know what that means in terms of the Pennsylvania Senate race, however. Could be a little difference. And also, of course, you've got the problem there that John Fetterman, remarkably 10 points ahead, and I interviewed his wife recently who's kind of representing him, because he's not even out campaigning yet. He's still he's still recovering from that stroke that he had back in the spring, and he hasn't actually been on the campaign trail. So if he's 10 points ahead already, but he does come from Braddock, Pittsburgh, he is born and bred in Pennsylvania, a very big contrast. I mean, there's no candidate out there like John Fetterman at the moment, I don't think, but he's born and bred Pennsylvania, very different from Dr. Oz. But to your point, how fortunes can change, right? In the space of a kind of few days, the Democrats here in Washington seem to have put wind in the sails of their Democrats' agenda, which could help Democrats around the country, give them something potentially to run on. November is still a long way away and people's memories are short, and inflation is still going to dominate. I mean, this is still going to be the biggest issue, and it's all going to be down to whether we can get inflation under control for the Democrats by November. But it does give them something to talk about that's a bit more positive. The real problem, I think, though, is that Republicans have just nominated candidates who are out of step with their states. And the really interesting one is going to be Ohio. Ohio is more conservative than Pennsylvania. It's probably more conservative than Georgia at the moment. And if J.D. Vance can't win in Ohio against Tim Ryan, who's running a kind of blinder of a campaign out there, even appealing to Republican voters, just as John Fetterman, by the way, is running ads on Fox News. You've got two candidates appealing to Republican working-class voters. But if J.D. Vance can't run Ohio, it really indicates that the Republicans have to have another think about the kind of candidates they're nominating.
Peter Baker, what do you suspect or what do you know that Mitch McConnell is thinking as he watches these races unfold, as he looks at a poll number like that one in Pennsylvania? These are states that Republicans believe they can and should win. You could add Georgia to that list with Herschel Walker, as I mentioned, Pennsylvania, Ohio, as he watches J.D. Vance, as he watches Dr. Oz, as he watches Herschel Walker. What is he thinking?
Well, he's thinking, I told you so, basically. Mitch McConnell has been through this before. They've been through a cycle where the Republican Party picked a number of candidates in various hot races that were unelectable, and now he's worried that they're repeating history. And, of course, that, in his mind, is Donald Trump's fault, right? He has said all along that the party needs to move on from Donald Trump and needs not to be hostage to Donald Trump, but he hasn't been willing to confront him in a direct way, really, since the impeachment trial of last year. And that's a consequence you're seeing through these primaries and through these, candidate selection processes. Georgia, Pennsylvania, Ohio, these ought to be Republican states in an environment like this, with inflation being what it is, with the economy either in or certainly near recession. Those ought to be pickups or hold for Republicans who have two of those states. And he ought to be getting his 52-seat majority back as far as Mitch McConnell is concerned. And they might not because of who they picked to run for them. Now, it's obviously the opposite in the House, where the Republicans still doing well. Kevin McCarthy still favored, I think, to win a majority there, although the odds have narrowed a little bit. Democrats are feeling a little bit better. But it says something about the Republican Party if they're not able to take one, if not both houses, in an environment as tough as this, because President Biden's numbers are in the tank. When they're down as low as they are in the 30s, when a president's party is facing an economic headwinds the way that they are, if they're not, losing in a midterm, then that's really something about the opposition party.
Yeah, and we even heard reports last night of some grumbling now from President Trump himself about the performance of the candidates that in some cases he handpicked to run for the Senate. Peter Baker, thank you as always for your reporting. Susan Del Percio, thank you as well. Good to see you. Still